You're right there on the ground. Tell me your reaction to the two new phones.
So on the 5S, I think it's incredibly impressive. It really represents a breakthrough for Apple. It's its first smartphone ever that's based on 64-bit computing. So what that means is it's bringing the power and capabilities of the desktop computer into your phone. So you're getting incredible graphics now. They showed a great demo that showcased some great graphics. You mentioned the biometric fingerprint reader. It's right under the home button, and I just played with it about 15 minutes ago. It works beautifully. It's a password replacement to get into your iPhone, and for now you can use it also to purchase apps through the App Store.
So
now,
this
that will
means
extend, I'm sure, into other features.
Only you can actually get into your phone, correct? I mean, this is a security device, unlike anything we've seen previously.
That's exactly right.
Is this sort of a precursor to
right.
the iPhone wallet, you think?
I think it is, and I think that the fact that you actually can use your fingerprint to actually make a purchase through iTunes, it is a precursor, I think, to e-commerce capabilities. Very, very big deal. But the idea is that so much of your life is stored in your phone, your photos, your passwords, personal information. To be able to verify that individual with a fingerprint is fantastic. And I used it; it worked beautifully. It was seamless to let it know that to teach it my fingerprint.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, let's talk about the 5C, Colin.
Sure.
One of the markets that's so critical and that they haven't been able to really penetrate, of course, is emerging markets. Is this going to make a difference for them?
We have to see, and that's a big question mark for Apple, because the 5C, the price point that they're coming in is still going to be relatively expensive for emerging markets, right? If you think about
what's the competition doing? I mean, $99 worth of contract versus...
Well, so in unsubsidized, it may likely be $500 to $550, right? We're still waiting for that number, right? But you can get smartphones that are decent smartphones.
I actually understand that. Apple actually has come out with that just in the last 15-20 minutes and has published a price point for the 5C over $500. And I think it's one of the reasons you're seeing the stock move down right now, because people expected a lower price point here to go after those emerging markets. Right. Apple's clearly making a choice to preserve margins.
And you can get a Nokia Lumia for $100, right? You could get a Nexus 4 was on sale for $199. So they are preserving margins. It's great. We need to see if it will get the volume units that people expect.
Well, in the U.S., both AT&T and Verizon subsidize the iPhone. So I can go out and get a new iPhone. Right. It costs me $200 bucks. What's the possibility, however remote, that effectively China Mobile, with its 750 million users, would be willing to subsidize the cost of this new 5C?
Well, and that's the big issue, right? And that's the one major carrier and the big question mark for Apple. So the event tomorrow, in many ways, has more weight than the event today. The event today didn't have many surprises. In fact, it's interesting that the information that came out was so widely leaked. That's it's not the normal pattern for Apple.
Colors, biometric sensor, etc.
Correct. Right, new cameras, the A7 processor.
I agree. That's right. There really were no surprises.
Yeah. Do you think Tim Cook's just sort of striking a different tone? I mean, why is it that there were no surprises, Brian?
I think that, like the internet bloggers, people in the supply chain have actually become pretty adept at sharing little leaks, whether it's, leaked images of the colors, leaked images of the sensor. It's a big business finding out what Apple is doing. And so there have been a lot of people who have been involved. I mean, the volume of information leaking has certainly increased.
A lot of people...
I think it's not really a problem for Apple, but it does take a lot of the surprise out.
A lot of people are watching the stock pretty carefully right now. As you pointed out earlier, it may be on news that the 5C has such a high price point and therefore won't be able to help them much in the emerging market environment. We're looking at the stock off 1.6%. You've got a $500 price target, Colin. That's basically where it is right now. What are you thinking?
Right. I think that a lot of this news that came out today is already properly reflected in the stock, right? Now, what we do want to see is, we're going to have the China rollout in the September quarter. Yeah. That historically has not been the case. It's normally a December quarter rollout. So that means we're going to likely have a pretty good September results, right? But it will pull some sales forward from the December quarter. If you go back and you look at the iPhone 5 pre-orders, I mean, they sold millions of these, right? 2 million sold in the pre-order, 5 million sold in the first weekend, and then another 2 million when it launched in China. So September quarter is looking to be pretty strong right now.
Now, here's the thing, Colin. Last year, Apple made $44.15. This year, that drops to $39.09. Next year, maybe it goes to $43.60. Right. That's still less than last year. So when are we going to actually see earnings growth longer term?
And this is the whole point about Apple, and it's one of the reasons why I have that $500 price target, is because we want to see new revenue streams.
Right.
You can't just do the refresh of the existing product lines. You need to build in new revenue.
Yeah, we sure do. Brian Blair, exciting day out there. It's a beautiful looking product, but Colin raises a great point, and that is, frankly, that you got to have new products. As you talk to people out there in Cupertino, what's the word about new products?
You know, there is still an expectation out here that we're going to see a television from Apple in 2014. You know, Tim Cook has talked about his grand vision for television, and I think that is likely to be one of the new revenue streams. But what's interesting is that this new color-based iPhone also really does represent new revenue streams. Even though it's a higher price point now, the multiple colors and the fact that it is a bit of a lower price point is going to help it go into emerging markets, even if that initial volume is lower because of the high price point. But the addition of China, China Mobile, which I think is going to be in the December quarter, that will add a lot of volume. NTT Docomo is a new carrier. That will add a lot of volume. So we are still going to see new revenue streams and growth, but I think the new opportunity is next year in the TV, and maybe we see wearables after that.
Okay, so here we are talking about TV. Here we are talking about wearables. Everybody knew that we were going to see the phones that we saw here today with some technologies like the fingerprint technology. Brian, do you believe that Apple has lost the ability to surprise the investment community?
They haven't lost the ability. It's just getting a lot harder. If they're already making the product, the supply chain is leaky, for lack of a better word. You know, you have millions of components being built, and it's hard to hide every single one of those when somebody like a blogger from Australia can pay $200 and get the casing for the gold iPhone. So it makes it tough. I think if Apple has an opportunity to surprise with TV and wearables, because they might be able to show these products early, much like they did in the summertime with the Mac Pro. That actually hasn't come out yet. We saw it in June. So I think we have the chance of them doing that with the television and a wearable, because they're not interrupting their own market yet. So they might show these things early, and they actually could surprise, I think, quite a bit next year.